You probably thought when you read the news today that Shirley Temple had died at 85 that, wait, was she already dead? Was she alive? I mean, the thing about Shirley Temple is that she's so iconic. She's like Charlie Chaplin. She's like Mickey Mouse. She lives on in the culture even as the actual person with that name was sort of rolling on in her life. She will always be that little 7-year-old girl tap dancing with Bilbo Jangles Robinson on the steps. She'll always be singing on the good ship Lollipop. Somehow we didn't really think that somebody who had had that career and had become that iconic had moved beyond it and had an actual real life. And she did have a real life. And once the shooting stopped, as it were, and she very happily moved on to a life without movie stardom in her late teens. Temple married John Agar at a young age, at 17, and they were divorced after 4 years. And then she married the man, Charles Black, to whom she'd be married for 55 years. And through, I think, contacts in the film industry, she ended up having a fairly solid, in fact, quite illustrious career as an ambassador to Ghana, to Czechoslovakia. She was there during the Velvet Revolution. She was Hollywood royalty, but she never acted like it. And I think one of the things about Temple is you go back and you look at her films, the delight of watching her is that she always seems herself. She's never putting on an act. And I think that was also her cultural importance, too. It bears remembering that she came along in the worst of the Depression. There was nothing exotic about her. There was nothing glamorous about her. She was just a cute kid who seemed to be acting herself and telling the grown-ups how to get their act together. And the country needed that at that point, at a time when the country's sense of itself was absolutely prostrate due to the Depression. Shirley Temple kind of functioned as a national pulse. If she was healthy, so were we. So she really was a product of that time, and for reasons that are known really only to herself. She's one of the few child stars I can think of, there are a handful of others, who survived with her sanity intact and came out of the process fairly unsinged and didn't end up with a DWI and didn't end up in a tabloid and just had a normal life. I think she's a child star who's lucky to have a pair of loving parents who didn't fight over her money and who supported her and tried to get her better roles. And I think that normality is something that enlivens who she was on screen and helped her survive easily once she decided to step away. We think of Shirley Temple as kind of this 20th century icon. In a weird way, she's an aberration in the history of movie stardom. She's the star that got away and had a happy life.